welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 81. And we are now finally going to get on with the rally events, following our success of pretty much dominating the professional GT World Championship in my Mitsubishi FTO LM race car, which I drove a total of over 526 kilometers in this thing during the GT World Championship, which, as I recently found out, is also equivalent to precisely 326.8 miles, as I just looked on Bing. Sorry, 327.3 miles I've driven in this thing. And before we get on with the rally events, the one thing I did not do in the previous segment was, well, give this thing some service. So I'm going to wash it first because, well, my car died, and I'm also going to service, and I'm also going to change the oil because that oil looks disgusting. And now I'm officially going to use one of my 3 rally cars. And of course, I have 2 rally cars which I have not used. And if I just go down here, I've already used the Impreza, so I don't need to use that again. I might use it again in the future, but for the meantime I'm not going to do that. And well, I have a choice between 2 cars I can use. I can use either the Lancer Evo 6 or the Evo 7, and I think because this is the first rally event we're doing, I'm going to use the Evo 6. Shalabang, shalaboom. And because I would imagine there are going to be some challenges, you will probably see me doing this quite frequently over probably the next 10 segments, probably. So I'm going to buy myself a turbo because I have a feeling I'll be okay for the first 2 races, but for the 3rd race, that might be a bit tougher, unless I have the turbo kit. So we have a total of 10 rally events we need to get through here, as of which we have the Tahiti Circuit, Tahiti Maze, Smoky Mountain, Swiss Alps, and Special Stage Route 5 Wet, which oddly enough is the only track in intermittable conditions in this game. And we also have the reverse courses. And so let's get through our first event, which is the Tahiti Challenge of Rally. And 3 races here, as of which each of them pose their own unique challenges. And dirt tyres only, as of which it's only really rally cars that can enter these events. And also, the values for money in these events tend to increase by 5 grand in each race we do. And officially, it's 5 grand for the first race, 10 grand for the second race, and I think it's 20 grand for the 3rd race. And just gonna take off the driver aids because I don't need them. Don't need to change the downforce because this thing is all-wheel drive. And the opponent we are up against is a 206. Let's do this. We are going 2 laps around the Tahiti Circuit. Off to an aggressive start from what I could tell with the Peugeot, as which I did try my hardest to keep clean, but was not able to prosper in the end. And I should also mention that all of the rally events in this game are basically either dirt or gravel. this game. We don't have any snow events in this game, as which that did not officially become a thing until the release of Gran Turismo 4. But ultimately, I have driven on all 5 of these rally circuits numerous times before, as you have probably seen, and I'm also pretty confident to say that I will hopefully manage to win all 3 races on my first attempt. Considering for the 3rd race, which I know is going to be more of a challenge, I have already purchased myself a turbo for the challenges that presumably lay ahead. So I think it's 2 laps for the first race, 2 laps for the first race, 3 laps for the second race, and 4 laps for the 3rd race. And already, as I suspected, I have now taken the lead in the Tahiti Challenge Rally. And yes, that is precisely what this event is called. As I more or less anticipated, I am up to the front. And also, rubber banding in these events has also proven to be quite strong as well. After this, I have officially won in my debutante rally event by 1.5 seconds over the 206. And so there we go, that was race 1, and in the Evo 6 I have officially secured victory in my debut rally event. And let's now move onwards to race number 2, which I'm pretty sure is more or less going to be the same, but will probably be a little bit more challenging. But yeah, let's do it. Same circuit, an additional lap this time, and also the same opponent. It's a roar. As I anticipated, I am starting off very well with the rally events, even though this is a closer race this time. because I would imagine the Peugeot this time has more power than it did in the previous event. But already to start this off, I've been pretty good so far. Although that's probably because the first race was pretty easy. But this one will probably be closer, from what I can make out, because I'm leading this thing by less than a second over the Peugeot at the moment, who is basically just there lurking in the dust, and probably just waiting in the shadows for me to fuck this up. But at the moment, of course, I'm not making any such mistakes. And I'm also short-shifting because apparently might be that does actually give me more speed with certain rally cars for some reason. So I thought about it like this. I thought I would use the Evo 6 for the first event, and then for the second event I would use the Evo 7, which is basically Tahiti maze. And then for the other ones we'll just have to wait and see what happens, but you know, that's just my plan. And whatever it is that you guys or gals may plan on doing with the rally events in this game with your segments, I honestly don't care, but as long as you eventually manage to get through every single event in this game, then you should be complete. Which does also include arcade mode, because that does count towards overall game completion, I might add. I also don't care how exactly you're going to structure your gaming LP of this particular game. As long as you know you've eventually reached 100%, as which 100%, as proven by a couple of YouTubers in the past, is perfectly possible. And this is definitely a closer race, because rubber banding in the rally events, like I said previously, has actually proven to be pretty strong. Because his AI definitely know how to keep up with the player, even then of course if they aren't winning the event. So you know, it does provide some good close racing, the rally events, in comparison to what it had in arcade mode. Anyways, I win race 2, and by a closer margin this time, because rubber banding gets stronger and stronger as the races progress onwards with the advantageous effects of the player. And actually no, I'll save a replay of the final race and we'll just see what happens. Anyways, final race, and this time it's going to be 4 laps long, I believe. Oh, 5 laps, okay. Well, with certain events it's 4 laps long, and with other events it's 5 laps long. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be fucking around with the Peugeot, because he will definitely have more power for this final race, and I'm not going to fuck around. I'm just going to put the turbo on so that I don't have to struggle. Because that is exactly what you need in order to win on the events in this game. I know for sure this is easily going to be closer than the other two races were, because the Peugeot will definitely have some tuning that I can work out, and I'm pretty sure that will probably be an issue, but it won't bother me too much because rubber banding is pretty tight in the rally events. It's basically the AI staying within less than 2 seconds of the player, which is certainly the sort of thing that you tend to get in the beginner and amateur leagues respectively, because rubber banding for most of the races in those particular leagues of racing in this game are also pretty strong. And at the moment I'm leading this thing, which oddly enough is the exact comparison of what I was anticipating to happen, even though I'm pretty sure the Peugeot probably will close in, because there are certain parts of this circuit where the Peugeot will be stronger than me, and there will be certain parts of the circuit where I will be stronger than the Peugeot. He will close in. I really cannot afford to underestimate the capabilities of his AI in these rally events, and there will be challenges, I can assure you. And just as I anticipated, that gap I had at the end of the first lap has just literally melted itself away. So the Peugeot has definitely closed in for this part of the lap. He is not letting me get away with this one, which is the main reason why I got turbo, because if I didn't, then I would be lacking in power as well as acceleration. And we're now heading up to these hairpin turns. I am pretty sure the Peugeot will probably be strong through there. Head back onto the tarmac once again, and made a little bit of contact there with the stone brick wall, but again managing to keep myself in contact with the track surface. Oddly enough, of course, there is still this particular part of the circuit where the Peugeot is quicker than me. And even though I am stronger through the final section of the circuit, I still cannot afford to bottle this in a big way if I really want to win this event, as of which that is exactly what I believe the case is evidently going to be. Even though at the moment, of course, I'm managing to do pretty good. From what I can work out. I'm also short shifting because apparently that does give me more speed as I enter the corners. You know, with certain rally cars, if I short shift, it will give me some extra speed as I enter the corners, or at least some additional acceleration from what I can work out. Because, oddly enough, rally cars in the 90s were running on restrictor plates. Even though, for this final race, because I have a turbo one, I am not running on a restrictor plate. But yes, one thing I learned about rally cars from the 90s is about how they were running on restrictor plates. And that's probably what kept the competition so close in those days. I mean, the competition is still close now, they just don't run with restrictor plates at the top of the engine block like they used to. At the moment, I'm just keeping a hold of the Evo 6, just managing to stay ahead of the Peugeot, and as I suspected I would, I make contact with the outside wall, but again, it doesn't matter too much because I'm still leading over the Peugeot. I'm pretty sure that I will probably win this as long as I don't fuck this up. I'm pretty sure this probably will end up being a W. Also short shifting because apparently that does give me the speed I need. And oddly enough, this is actually going pretty good. And it looks as though the Peugeot is trying to close in, but I think as long as I can keep this all in an orderly fashion, but as long as I can keep this orderly fashion flowing, then I should be able to win this race without any major difficulties. And so, there we go. The first rally event is a clean sweep. In the end, I won the race by 1.4 seconds. But again, the turbo was one thing I needed to have if I was going to win this race, because if I didn't, the Peugeot would have been quicker than me. But still a pretty close race overall. I mean, it was under 2 seconds. So yeah, the money basically doubles from the first race into the second race, and then for the third race, it doubles. It basically doubles again. Just goes to show all you need to know about rally events in this game. And I also have a replay saved. And let's now get our prize car. And what are we going to win from this? We win a Toyota Celica from this. And I'm also pretty sure this was the banned model from the WRC, because I think it was this car in the 95 season that had a turbo, and as a result, of course, that notably got Toyota excluded from the Constructors' Championship, methinks. Anyways, that's our first rally event, and next time we will be doing Tahiti Maze. And already, as a result, my win ratio has now climbed back up to 83%, and we are now 80.5% complete. And this is the car value, and here is our first prize car. Actually, you know what? I could do this the other way. There it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one was the banned model, because I'm sure the year was 1995 when this car was in the WRC, and the car itself got banned because it had a turbocharger, which excluded the 95 rulebook. I'm pretty sure this was the banned model from the WRC during the 90s. I think that's what this was. But again, it was still a great car, it just had a turbo on, and that's ultimately what got Toyota excluded from that year's World Championship. But yeah, that was the first event of probably 10 in the rally events, and so next time we shall be doing Tahiti Maze. So stay tuned for that.